The boy was born into a family that was heavily in debt. My father was a blacksmith. But it's hard to feed the whole family. It's more for livelihood. Borrowed the debt of Hades. If it is not returned when it is due, will be abolished. In such an atmosphere, everyone could only eat in silence. And that's not all. Sanitation in the home is extremely poor. Her father's tone was even more difficult for her to accept. And the younger sister, in order to save water, wash your hair only once a month. He couldn't accept this kind of life. He's going to make a change. It starts with their father. He then asked his father if he had any hard fur or anything like that. The father said, "Hunters who know can get boar hair from there." Soon my father brought back a large bag. He wanted to make it just for craftsmen. But there's nothing to do anyway. He started making a toothbrush. A lot was done in a short period of time. Then he called his father to teach him how to brush his teeth. This feeling of freshness. Father never experienced it. She told her father, "This is called a toothbrush." Then the two looked at each other and smiled. "I think this can be exchanged for some silver tails. Just do it." After the two cleaned up, straight to the moment, under their explanation, people flocked to it. 250 toothbrushes were sold out in an instant. If they sell more Hades debt, you can pay it off on time. They decided to purchase raw materials in large quantities. Keep making. Hear this. Mom and sister also came to help. The whole family stayed up all night and started to make. Their goal is to pay off their debts with 3,000. Half a month later, they came to the bazaar again. But something went wrong. Toothbrushes have already been sold. There is also a custom-style technology for children and women. Processed materials. Each one is better than theirs. The boy didn't expect the businessman's sense of smell to be so acute in this era. Seeing this, the father asked his son what to do. They only have half a month left. It seems that his arm is not guaranteed. After returning home, the boy kept thinking about what to do next. In his previous life, he had a serious traffic accident. At the time of the NDE, he desperately crawled towards his father's relics. When caught, he lost consciousness. I woke up and came here. Then the memories of the incident kept coming back to my mind. His name is Chao Hui. His father was a blacksmith. Mother is virtuous and virtuous. There is a yearning for rivers and lakes. An ignorant brother and a frail sister. There was also a guy who cheated his family out of money. It seems that my father went out to borrow money because of this. It's a huge amount of knowledge coming to mind. This is by no means information that one person can have. And Sima Yaisai made him extremely angry for some reason. His head was still a mess. I don't know what to do here to survive. Do you want to become a martial arts master like a novel? Chao Hui found his brother who was practicing martial arts. But his swordsmanship is hardly convincing. I feel that the primary school students in my previous life practiced better than him. Even so, he still asked his brother where he learned kung fu. The elder brother proudly told the younger brother. He was from a friend Zhongshan. Chao Hui knew that it was useless to learn this. Is it difficult to ask my brother to learn martial arts from those sects? Hearing this, my brother was furious. He traveled everywhere and did not see a single person in the rivers and lakes. That kind of martial arts master. They are rare to see in their lives. If you want to learn to be an older brother, you can teach him. Chao Hui turned around and left directly. Let my brother work hard. It seems that all kinds of strange encounters in martial arts novels are deceiving. Although now she is still very confused here. But he definitely wants to change the situation at home. Better to live. Father brushes his teeth for the first time. Let her see a business opportunity. There was no toothbrush in this day and age. So he brought the toothbrush he made to the market. I thought that I would be able to pay off my family's debts. I didn't expect that some people had already followed suit when they came. Occupy the market. After returning home, she was not reconciled. Find the father again. I hope to pass on the blacksmith shop at home to myself. Because he thought of another way. Father didn't know what nonsense she was talking about. After all, the son has no experience in striking iron. The next sentence made my father even more angry. But the son told him to go out and borrow some more taels of silver. Whatever can be used as collateral is exchanged for silver taels, because he'll triple the money. Wenyan's father wanted to end this rebel son. After a serious illness, it was as if the son had changed. But thinking about the toothbrush before, father decided to hear his bold ideas first. Chao Hui wants them to make the Chao family a steelmaster in Anhui. He knew that iron pears were the best product they sold. First of all, they have to reduce the price by 30% first. If the news gets out, it's sure to attract people. They can make 30 units a day. The father thought his son must be crazy. He has been sitting on one for half a month. Chao Hui said it was easy to achieve. First, they had to hire 20 workers. Then let them do the work. Each process is divided into 2 groups to work alternately. The father only needs to teach the corresponding craftsmanship and supervision, and he will personally take care of the sales. If it goes well, they will pay off their debts very quickly, then continue to invest in expanding the operation. My father didn't want to abandon the spirit of a craftsman, but after hearing the aforementioned, she felt that what her son said was very convincing. The next day they came to the caravan. Show your intentions. The back doorman told them to go to the side and line up. The people who came out of it were all depressed. My father was a little nervous. After Chao Hui comforted his father, just let him wait outside. After entering, the man who looked like a son asked him how many silver taels he needed. Chao Hui opened his mouth for 320 silver. See what he looks like. Child directly asked people to send off guests. Chao Hui said, gone on their own. Child will regret it, and will lose contact with the main iron house. Child thought he was from the Golden Autumn or the Great Fire Black Iron House. Chao Hui said that he was the second son of the Chao family's blacksmith shop. Hear the words. Child thinks he's looking for trouble. Seeing this, Chao Hui took out his notebook. It details the value of your home's belongings. But Child said that the value above was only enough for 152. Chao Hui said, the rest is secured by the labor of the whole family, and in the future, their products can be traded with Child at a 7% discount. If you don't agree, he would consult with the liquor merchants. Here are the names of the competing trade unions. Child directly ordered someone to take 1,200 over. If you don't have it yet, and they will be taken into slavery. Chao Hui wouldn't let that happen. After returning home, the father asked what to do next. Chao Hui said that the recruitment information has been posted. Here's when the interview will be. Start by screening out the ones that are not suitable for the job. Then it's about using the way you worked in your past life to keep them. This system has gone through countless trial and error in modern times. Moreover, the treatment he gave was beyond the normal level. They will also be given paid rest on holidays. There will also be a lot of benefits. But there is a point. The work here is all confidential. I'll have no opinion. I hope to start soon. He asked everyone to learn the technique with their father first. Seeing that the fighting spirit of the employees is so recovered, he knew his plan would succeed. He brought the modern flow of work to ancient times and used the modern bonus system to attract people to join. People have never heard of such good treatment. Swarming. Can't wait to ask to join. Everything went according to his plan. All that remained was for his father to teach the workers carefully. A few days later, the factory is on track. The speed of production shocked my father. In the past, he had to endure half a month of scorching heat to forge an iron pear. Now I can make more than 20 in a day. And the quality is not much different either. Seeing this, my father was not as happy as he imagined. He asked his son to compensate for his youth. There is such a thought. Why didn't you say it earlier? Chao Hui comforted his father. It's not too late. But the father's resentment did not stop. Seeing this, Chao Hui hurriedly changed the topic. They should consider continuing to expand their operations. Half a year passed like this. They have paid off all their debts and expand their factory into 3 workshops. Iron tools of different sizes are produced separately. At this time, the housekeeper sent today's hot model, and he said that his brother had waited for him a long time. Hear the words. Chao Hui hurriedly went straight to inquire. It turned out that his brother-in-law was the son of the merchant group who lent him money. After a few pleasantries, he asked the other party for the purpose of the visit. The righteous brother said, "For half a year, their business group has been selling the Chow family's ironware. Now there is no one who does not know that it is a product produced by the Chow family. There are limits to what can be organized in the name of their merchant group. So find a group that can shelter them as soon as possible. Officials will soon pursue the question of Chow's origins. This will affect their merchant group, because iron is provided by them." Chow Hui told his righteous brother not to worry. He's already thinking about it, and he knows it too. Brother E has been negotiating with the major merchant groups for him. The righteous brother said that his eyes are not all transactions. The various iron house merchants had been stopping their caravan for a month. The Chow family will be found soon. Chow Hui reassured her brother-in-law. He has solved the problems of the government. He paid a lot of money every month. In fact, he was worried about people that the government was afraid of. His profits are huge. It will definitely attract the iron blood leopard brother. I didn't expect the biggest problem to be in the rivers and lakes. That's why Chow Hui can make up his mind now. He's going to make the bad guys scared when they hear their names. As your own shelter. It is the famous Nangong family on the rivers and lakes. The brothers thought that was impossible. Chow Hui said. Something happened to him a few days ago. The two fought for the right to operate the Rikhun temple. In his eyes, the skills of the two are already very powerful. Passers-by next to them said they weren't masters. At this moment, a man interrupted their fight. The man only spoke. Let the two of them go and leave there. After that incident, he decided to focus on the Nangong family. Just like when I borrowed money from my brother-in-law before. This time, he will also take a risk at Nangong's house. Brother Wan Yini regretted that he didn't give Chow Pai more nutrition at the beginning. I hope I won't forget him as a brother-in-law in the future. He saw that Chow Hui already had a plan. Then he took his leave. After seeing off the guests, the housekeeper said, the old man looked for him. Chow Hui was puzzled. My father was looking for himself so formally. Soon, the father came in with a box. Tell him, this is a treasure that has been passed down from generation to generation by their Chow family. It took him half a year to become one of the village's wealthy treasures. In order to keep the family business, he decided to ask the Nangong family for help. Before leaving, his father wanted to hand over the heirloom to him. I didn't expect that there were treasures at home where I used to borrow money to eat. When he saw this treasure, exceptionally familiar with past lives, his father had also given her a resignation. Could it be that he was reincarnated in the body of his ancestors? Father told him, this thing is called one-day blood rain. As he spoke, a voice came from within, and it seemed like only she could hear it. My father knew it was extraordinary, but the specifics are not very clear. When my father left, there was another voice from inside the orb. I vaguely saw an old man asking for his name. He couldn't help but be surprised. Tell the old man. His name is Chow Hui. The old man lamented that the boy's soul rank was equivalent to their respect. But there is no lifeline in him. Whoever the blood jade chooses needs that thread to gain abilities. Chow Hui didn't know what he was talking about. The old man explained. Those who follow the martial arts will achieve the unity of heaven and man. Those who follow the text will also become saints. Chow Hui said that he did not get any factors. Hearing this, the old man felt that he was lying. Chow Hui wondered if his reincarnation counted, but he didn't know whether to tell the secret or not. At this time, another old man said, they are all ancestors of the Chow family. No one will harm their descendants. After thinking, Chow Hui exported the secret of reincarnation. As soon as this remark came out, the old man laughed. It seems that in the end, Sima won the victory. Then, no matter how Chow Pai called, there was no movement. Before he could figure out what was going on, the elder brother hurriedly barged in. I hope I can take him to the Nangong family together. Chow Hui didn't want his brother to affect his plans. Outright rejection. But my father came. I hope he will bring his brother with him. Don't take it all upon yourself. He can ask his brother to take care of some things for him. I saw my father speak. Chao Hui could only agree. On the other side, the merchant who followed the iron side came to the door. The servant hurried to report the incident. Chao Hui knew that this day had finally come. It must be addressed personally. The blacksmiths were furious when they saw him. Chao Hui asked himself what he was wrong. The Chao family's price reduction is true, but there are also huge profits. I don't know why these elders don't lower their prices. He asked the group to follow him on a tour of the factory. They were blown away by what they saw. Chao Hui asked the people present if anyone could surpass him. Anhue's iron masters once ranked first. That's when it started. Anhue has no one to answer after 100 years. Since then, the work of the royal family has been fruitless for them. Their young men were all recruited by the emperor as soldiers. So Chao Hui begged everyone to help him make his wish come true. They have to cooperate, so that the whole world can use their temper. Now the offense and defense are all up to his father to teach the technique. He wanted to hire someone to teach his staff, and set up an R&D department with his father. They no longer have to make money by striking iron and suffering on their own. After hearing this, the crowd began to talk about it. Chao Hui saw that they had been shaken. Then let the people take out what was prepared. He wants people to know their determination. He wants to make Anhue Iron House the first in the world. After everyone was successfully brainwashed by him. So they asked their father to divide the work for them. A hostile takeover in a previous life should be like that. After the manpower is available, he called the butler. Let him get to work on his own plans. An iron-framed carriage that replaces a simple horse-drawn carriage. Tomorrow he will leave it to the steward to carry out the walk. He didn't know how long it would take to get back, so he would write down the handling of emergencies in a notebook. He believes that the housekeeper can handle everything well. He didn't expect that his ancestor would be a generation of heroes Cao Cao, and tell him that he is not worthy of being the overlord of the next generation. He only relies on a little cleverness to buy people's hearts. Chao Hui refused to accept that he didn't use silver tails. Do you treat them as slaves? At this time, the souls in the orb were divided. After all, they waited a long time to meet the descendants of their fate. Then the orb went silent again. He and his brother have been out of the house for a few days. I'm just getting used to riding a horse. My brother rode well, but he has been holding a record of the rivers and lakes. He prayed to the gods to save the dancing idiot. Brother, it was as if I heard his heart. He told Chao Hui that he had sworn an oath. Bandits robbed their house. My father was beaten badly that day. He won't let anyone hurt his family anymore. After hearing this, Chao Hui changed his opinion of his brother. He believed that his brother would be able to do it. My brother hopes that he can become a man like the sword god. Single-handedly eliminated the 8 great rudders of the demon cult. Even killed the demon sect master. Such a strong man. But he didn't even leave his name. Records about him. Nothing is ominous. At this time, the orb sounded in Chao Hui's mind again. Asked him if he had ever thought about why the Chao family was so down. In Chao Chao's time, he owned tens of thousands of pieces of gold. Chao Chao wanted the boy to make a deal with them. Then they will be able to deal with those people. It's the Sima clan he hates. No wonder Chao Pai was furious when he heard Sima. But as far as he knew, the current head of the other party's family is a descendant of the martial god. Chao Chao asked the artist if he could let Chao Pai inherit his martial arts. That person was none other than the sword god Chao Tian that my brother had just mentioned. If you find his sword mound, it should be achievable. Then inherit all of his energy. Chao Tian said. He could occasionally see Chao Pai's memories. The intellectual culture there was beyond his imagination. If their abilities are combined with Chao Pai's knowledge, we will definitely be able to accomplish great things. There is such a good thing. Chao Hui directly agreed to the deal. At dusk, they arrived in Hefei. The scene here is completely different from that of a modern city. The atmosphere here is more lively. A Peking opera performance is taking place in an open space. The two have never seen the world in the world. Attracted an old man. The three of them didn't know each other, but we had a great time. The old man introduced the performance of the Nangong family Heavenly Swordsman battle. Difficult to beat the Blood Fiend. Heavenly Swordsman is an idol-like existence in Manhwa. But there are also those who feel that these are deceptive. It's obviously an evil demon defeated by the Heavenly Thunder Swordsman. These people are still doing this every day. As soon as this statement came out, it concealed a lot of dissatisfaction. But seeing their outfits are people from the Zhuge family. No one dared to say anything to them. At this time, the elder brother said that they were talking nonsense. He is a loyal reader of Jianghu Finjianlu. There is no conclusive conclusion in it at all. Who the hell defeated the Blood Fiend? Chao Hui felt the anger of the other party. Hurriedly stepped forward to clear the siege. Said that his brother was not very good at his brain. I hope the other party doesn't have the same understanding as him. Return to the inn. Chao Hui breathed a sigh of relief. If it weren't for so many people looking at it, it probably wouldn't have ended easily. As soon as I arrived in Hefei, I got into trouble with Zhuge Jiaka's head office. Fortunately, this is Chao Hui's brother-in-law. Came to Chao Hui to change the topic. Ask about the situation of Nangong's family. It is best to have some personnel information within the Nangong family. The righteous brother told him. That can only go to the night butterfly or the moon forest. They are the intelligence agencies in the rivers and lakes. But it's hard for ordinary people like them to find out. Their existence or absence is also uncertain. Chao Hui felt that the trick might not work. I asked if I wanted to visit directly. How long does it take to see the master of the inner court? The righteous brother said. The number of people visiting every day reaches 100. It is also the order of dividing the interface according to the needs of the purpose. His father had been waiting for a month, and they are the last to seek protection. See here. Chao Hui can only go and see tomorrow morning. He wanted to get some sleep, but was woken up by a bead. It's just because there are 8 ancestors living in it. Let him hurry to find the sword mound. Inherit martial arts. Chao Hui also wants to inherit the sword god martial arts. But the journey will take 5 months. If you run into bandits, it's even more troublesome. So he begged the sword god to give him another month to deal with affairs. The sword god saw that his body was stiff. Closed blood. It was decided to consume spiritual power first. Borrow his body for the time being. Didn't wait for Chao Hui to ask what was going on. He has lost control of his body. The sword god didn't expect this body to be so bad. Hua Luo directly transformed into the Hulk. After a while, he said that he had used his innate true qi to open up Chao Di's meridians. Chao Hui remembered that using true qi seemed to consume Shoyuan. The sword god said that it was only a 10-year lifespan. As soon as this remark came out, Chao Hui is like 5 thunderbolts. The sword god said, just learn his swordsmanship. Lifespan doesn't matter anymore. He consumes too much. We'll sleep for a while. Then he returned to the orb. After retrieving the body, Chao Hui was in severe pain. Fainted directly. When you wake up again, it seems that the body has changed. Filled with energy from all over the body. Could it be an internal force? Chao Hui destroyed the ground with a wave of his hand. He finally knew why his brother was obsessed with martial arts. After reigning in the mind, he decided to go ahead and talk about it. After coming to Nangong's house, sure enough, a lot of people are here. My brother was very excited when he came here. Chao Hui was thinking about what to do. This is the old man from before walking up to them. Chao Hui didn't expect it to be such a coincidence. Hurriedly saluted. The old man turned out to be the deputy head of the inner courtyard of the Nangong family. Just because they were the only ones who maintained the reputation of the Nangong family before. Another ancestor came from the orb in the waiting room. There is a peach blossom soul star map hanging on the wall. Chao Ru, a scholar of the Hanlin Academy, could not be mistaken. It has a history of 1,000 years. Chao Pai sighed after hearing this. The 1,000-year-old treasure is so well preserved. The old man entered the door just in time to hear surprise. How could he recognize it? Even the most famous painters of our time are unrecognizable. Brother Hua hurriedly asked where Master Chao Hui came from. That's a stumped question. He didn't know how to answer. Chao Ru told him. Let's just say that it is a descendant of Yintian Chao. It was a famous scholar from 300 years ago. The old man was very emotional. We'll leave such an excellent descendant. At this time, the old man's two brothers also came here and asked if Chao Hui was his apprentice. The old man said that he didn't dare to accept Chao Ru's descendants, seeing that Chao Hui did not have a master. The old man of Sanmao wants to take him as an apprentice. The hairy old man felt that he was the boss. He should be allowed to take it. The old man Sanmao didn't expect that the eldest brother would also find a difference. Chao Hui did not have any traces of martial arts. The meridians of the body have been opened, and his dantian is growing at an accelerated pace. In less than 3 years, he will push the limits, reach the top, the kind of realm that only the 7 dancing kings have reached in contemporary times. If they teach well, it should be achievable. The old man asked Chao Hui if he wanted to change his surname. They will teach him as if he were their own son. Chao Hui was still a little tempted after hearing this, but the ancestors inside the orb were already in a mess. They hit it off at first sight. The other party actually wanted to be his father and let him follow his last name. From then on, he was able to rise to the top. Promising. Wenyan's brother directly chose to agree. As a martial idiot, he dreamed of joining the Nangong family. But Chao Hui rejected the other party's kindness. How could a genius old man who has not met in 100 years miss it? It was decided that he could become his apprentice first. Seeing this, Chao Hui asked the ancestors for their opinions. They reluctantly agreed to the proposal. That's it. Chao Hui was defeated by the old man. The old man asked him how he had attained his internal strength. Chao Hui said, by chance, he obtained the secret book of the ancients. The old man didn't believe it at all, because that's not possible. Chao Hui cannot be said to have been taught by his ancestors. One can only stick to his claims. The old man said, he reads too many martial arts novels. No one taught. In the detailed cheats, it is also impossible to learn. This is the voice of the sword god in the orb sounds. Let Chao Hui not say more. Directly put forward the sword competition. They used the most basic 3-talent swordsmanship and 7-star footwork. In the case of internal force, it is stipulated within 10 years. Unexpectedly, the old man agreed to the written test and let Chao Hui make the first move. He wanted to see what he could do. The so-called written test of the sword is a verbal output move. Then the other person responds with words as well. The contempt of the two was like a game on a chessboard. It's more about the understanding of swordsmanship. A few tricks down, the old man fell into deep thought. He wanted to retract the previous move. Start from scratch. But how could Chao Pai let him be so helpless? The old man thought about it and continued to make moves. Was caught by Chao Pai. Defeat the enemy with one move. He lost the contest in just 4 rounds. The old man didn't expect Chao Hui to have some skills. He was a little distracted just now. Propose another one. Chao Hui doesn't care. Hopefully he'll do his best this time. This time the old man lasted 9 rounds. Lost the competition. He felt that he was losing first. Hoped to do it again. Then Lao Zhuan lost the competition again. This time, he didn't find a reason to ask for a fight. And so he lost 13 games. The old man Sanmao felt that his brother was not familiar with the 3-child sword. He felt that it should be this reason. It was decided to rematch in 15 days. He'll get acquainted with the sword. Let Chao Hui wait for him and leave here immediately. If the other party knows that he is competing with the sword god, I don't know what will happen. This is the old man Sanmao asking Chao Hui. Have you ever heard of Nangong no Hana? Chao Hui said. There is no one in Anhui who does not know. The old man Sanmao decided to introduce him to his granddaughter. That's it. Things are going in strange directions. While waiting, Chao Hui found that it was full of zither. Reminds him of when he played the guitar in college. Just then a girl walked in. It was the old man Sanmao who brought his granddaughter Su Su to come. Su Su was the first to ask Chao Hui about the melody just now. Hopefully she can teach herself. Chao Hui directly handed over pop music to Su Su. Su Su has never heard such good music. Same as Chao Hui. Met a bosom friend. Forgot about Grandpa. Haran. The old man Sanmao has never seen his granddaughter and any son like this. But he interrupted them anyway. Asked Chao Hui. How about his granddaughter? After seeing modern beauties, she didn't think Su Su was very pretty. But this kind of truth cannot be told. It can only mean that it is more beautiful than the legend. Then he was ready to take his leave. Go and prepare for the written exam. The old man, in order to keep the boy, it was decided to introduce his granddaughter to him. Unexpectedly, her granddaughter was captured by a pop song. The old man pushed the boat down the river. I want to go further. The boy took this opportunity to say goodbye directly. Return to your accommodation. Chao Hui couldn't sleep. I don't know why Elder Nangong is so attached to himself. The sword god told him. That's your own method. In his time, there were only a few people who could replace you. After hearing this, Chao Pai thanked the sword god for teaching him. But the sword god said that side effects are also there. Because he has skipped too many realms, he will definitely not be able to beat an opponent of the same level. The solution is to hit the architectural language as soon as possible. Chao Hui said that he would get it as soon as possible. For a few days, the old man has been studying the sword. His son is trapped here. Can't go anywhere. He didn't know who had made his father like this. The father said. Recently he took in an apprentice, but the sword lost to the other side. 13 times. The son thought that the apprentice's strength was close to that of the 7 martial gods. But my father said that the man was under 20 years old, and swore by his own sword. It's true. 15 days later, the news of heavenly swordsman's loss to a child spreads. No one believed it. It's true. This is the heavenly swordsman. The handsome son came to love him. As agreed, prepare to compete with Chao Pai again, and hopefully you can strike first. Chao Hui accepted the request, but one condition is proposed. He wanted to open a few inns in Hefei. If he wins, hopefully, you can get sky tokens. The swordsman didn't expect Chao Hui to be a businessman. If he wins, Chao Pai is going to follow his surname. Hearing this, the sword god wants to let the other party see what it means to have a sky outside the sky. That's it. The two of them began to argue again. Chao Hui's moves are as strong as ever. The swordsman gradually fell into passivity. His retreat has been blocked by the other party. In the end, he still lost the competition. The swordsman acknowledges Chao Hui's victory. But I still want to play a few games. The next is in the stone. The swordsman has no chance of winning. He finally realized that he was in front of Chao Pai. How lacking his own swordsmanship is. Then I seem to have an understanding. Enter meditation. The son understands that the father is inspired. Call for someone to guard the left and right. When the swordsman opened his eyes again, his stagnant swordsmanship actually made a breakthrough. I happily felt that he should be called Master Chao Hui, and agreed that Chao Hui would do his own thing in the name of the Nangong family. But he didn't understand. With Chao Hui's talent, why become a businessman? Chao Hui said, if you can't even eat enough, how to learn martial arts? Before leaving, he still has something to ask for, hoping to make his brother a warrior of the Nangong family. When Yin Swordsman asked his son to adopt this son, it is also necessary to personally guide the fight. After everything is taken care of, Chao Hui left here. Everyone at the door wanted to have a sword debate with him, but Chao Hui ignored them, walked straight to the door. A few days later, he returned home and showed the housekeeper his results. His blacksmith factory was finally ready to craft weapons. He asks the housekeeper to suspend the token. A steady stream of iron has been sent here to the county magistrate. The Lord also agreed with them to pay for the goods in installments. He is getting closer and closer to his dream of a steel kingdom. He wanted to bring the modern food delivery business to ancient times. Reservations are accepted at a fixed place every morning. Orders will have the address and time indicated in the status bar. Then a special person will check it for delivery. He had chosen the location of the inn and the order bar on the map. But something needs to be done to make it happen. The first thing to do is to finish the bike he designed. They won't go for sale, because I don't want people to imitate it. The housekeeper thought it was a good idea, but the cost will be a little high. Chow Hui said, as long as their food is delicious, no matter how expensive it is, there are people who buy it. For him, a modern taste. The food here is too big. That's because salt and sugar were expensive here in this era. So they're going to buy both of those things in bulk. He will come up with new dishes. Make people love. Even if it's expensive, they will also come to buy. The butler asked if the new business was a priority over the blacksmith shop. Chow Hui hoped that the housekeeper would do this, and the manufacture of the weapon would be left to his father. He was going to give the general a core weapon for free. The quality and craftsmanship should satisfy General Xiahou. The housekeeper felt that this would be a problem for them. Chow Hui said, and now they have the protection of the Nangong family. It is already possible to set up a business group of your own. The butler asked what to do with his brother's caravan. Chow Hui said, the Richest Brothers merchant group has been monopolizing their products. In just 8 months, the profit reached 10,000 taels of gold. So he has done enough for his brother-in-law. Brother, I understand. Transactions between merchants are equal. But the righteous brother never made a change to himself. So there is no need to bear this kind of loss now. Wen Yin butler fell into thought. If that's the case, their profits will be 5-fold. If the iron-framed carriage is put into production, profits will grow. Chow Hui said. And it doesn't stop there. The old shell technician led by his father. I will definitely research a good weapon. After that, the deal with General Xiahou was even larger. The butler was struck by his words. That's the case. Their profits are immeasurable. The other side. The head of the inner courtyard of the Nangong family found out something. The heavenly sword was given to an unknown blacksmith. This token will not be issued for a year. Given out. This violation of the family rules is. He can't leave it alone. Soon he noticed that the family was unusually quiet. There was no one in the training ground to cultivate. They all sat in the clearing. I don't know what to do. After questioning, it became clear that they were all engaged in an imaginary duel. And with the consent of the captain, the inner courtyard master felt that this was a joke. Useless. But the elder did gain enlightenment that day through the sword. Hear the words. The master of the courtyard thinks that it is suitable for the head of the house to discuss the sword. The answer he heard was Chow Hui from the Chow family's blacksmith shop. It was the one who issued the sky token. He then called out the shadow troops, ordered him to immediately investigate all the information about Chow Hui. At this time, the head of the Nangong family found the elder. He had just learned about the sword. Asked if it's the Zixia sword saint of Huashan. The elder said it wasn't that person. Slowly, the head of the house will know who that person is. In order to open an inn, he's ready. But he didn't know what to do. He asked a lot of innkeepers. No one wanted to tell him, because everybody knows what he's trying to do. Recently, there are a lot of big people in this inn. First of all, the little Zhuge of the Zhuge family came. Then the son of the Hua family came. In the end, the small shopkeeper of the Nangong family entered with Su Su. Several people knew each other. But the relationship is not so harmonious. If it weren't for the order of the family, the small building does not want to be with them at all. He beckoned Su Su to leave quickly after eating. At this time, Chow Hui's brother-in-law looked for him. Asked him why he suddenly terminated the collaboration. Chow Hui didn't expect the housekeeper to be so efficient. In fact, he reminded his brother-in-law every time they met. And the righteous brother should know very well how much he earns every month. Their cooperation is not like brothers at all. The righteous brother said that he had worked hard for the iron. Hearing this, Chow Pai took out the sky token. Seeing this, the righteous brother knew that their cooperation would come to an end. This is the little sword master walking over. Ask him how he got the token. Chao Hui met the people of the Nangong family, hurriedly revealed his identity. The little building has never heard of this person. Su Su hurriedly stepped forward to explain. The token was indeed given to him by the family. Because my brother has been in retreat, so don't know about this person. Chao Pai Gongzi is actually a genius in martial arts. Xiao Jia knew at a glance that Chao Hui didn't know martial arts. But I was told that the grandfather lost to this in the sword debate. And he lost 13 games in a row. Even so, the small building still can't believe it. Chao Hui knew that there was no benefit to being exposed to these people too much. Said that he still had to say goodbye in advance. But he was stopped by the small shopkeeper. You are not allowed to leave. He had to personally determine whether Chao Hui was eligible to own the token. At this time, the voice of the sword god came from the orb. It means that the boy is a swordsmanship genius. Chao Hui thought that the sword god liked that guy. I didn't expect the sword god to want to teach the other party a good lesson. He asked Chao Hui to take on the challenge of a small building and convey your own words to the other party. Chao Hui agreed to the sword god. I hope he doesn't affect his future. The sword god said. The small building must have been trained in degree blocking. Although power is important to swordsmen, but don't rely too much on what you see. And that kind of training is incompatible with Nangong Jiajin method. His right hand was already longer than his left, because the Yunmin acupoint has been seriously deformed. Then the sword god exported the Nangong sword technique. The mantra is inconvenient and rigorous. Long Feiying Road. Emperor's Sky. For 200 years. The swordsmanship of the Nangong family does not focus on speed and skill. After speaking, Chao Hui felt that he was too involved. I don't know if I will be beaten. And the small buildings are lost in thought. Over the years, he wanted to defeat the Huashan man. I don't know when I deviated from the Nangong sword technique. Is it because of the fear of losing the original intention? He then thanked Chao Pai for his reproach, and will no longer doubt his abilities. Chao Hui was then invited to have tea with them, seeing that they were going to leave a brother. I hope Chao Hui will help him again. Chao Hui asked the small building to wait for a while. He began to calculate the account book of his brother-in-law. It didn't take long. Chao Pai told his brother-in-law the result. After reading it, he knew that his brother also had a new business to do. It seems that the righteous brother has never told him the truth. See this murder. Fleeing in a hurry. But this is an astonishing speed of calculation. Made Xiao Zhuge interested in Chao Hui. It only took him a few minutes to calculate the Chamber of Commerce's bill. Something that seemed normal to him. But it has attracted the attention of others. Because that person's family is proud of arithmetic. In the case of a medium with a tool, he was curious to see how he did it. Could it be that the other party is a mathematical genius? Chao Hui didn't know how to explain modern mathematics to him, but he wanted to try to explain the concept of zero. Ask if you've ever wondered if you didn't have numbers. Xiao Zhuge felt that numbers were based on the premise of everything. Chao Hui knew he couldn't explain it clearly. I wanted to stop there. But the other party hoped that he could explain it clearly. Chao Hui secretly said why he should pay attention to this madman. Xiao Zhuge seemed to hear him say the word madman. Fortunately, the small shopkeeper stepped in to stop the entanglement at this time. Led the other party's spearhead to himself. Chao Hui felt that Xiao Jian didn't just dislike each other. Su Su asked them not to quarrel at this time. The painter took the opportunity to let everyone sit down to eat. Chao Hui found out who this person was. He took the initiative to tell the other party his family and name. The other party doesn't seem to remember defrauding his family of money at all. All the energy is on Su Su's body. Su Su didn't want to pay attention to him. I remembered that Chao Hui had taught himself music. He got up. Thank you for teaching yourself such a good song before. It was the best melody he'd ever heard. Wanyan Xiao Zhuge found that Chao Hui had so many advantages. He solemnly invited Chao Hui to be a guest at his family. As soon as this remark came out, it also aroused the dissatisfaction of the small shopkeepers. He invited the people of his own family in front of him. See here. Chao Hui rejected Xiao Zhuge's kindness. This calmed down the quarrel between the two. After the meal, the small shopkeeper said, the crowd was free to choose whether or not to go with him. Xiao Hui wondered where they were going. Xiao Zhuge told them that they were going to participate in the Little Dragon Club in Huashan. It was a sacred ceremony that was held only once every 3 years. It's not just martial arts. There is also the exchange of piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Xiao Hui remembered Hua Shan's words. Very close to the sword mount. These people can just be his bodyguards. He will also get to know more big names because of this. Xiao Zhuge and Su Su were very happy to have Xiao Hui join. That's it. Several people got into a carriage. I don't know how long I walked. Men reported that they were in trouble. The bandits raised their banners in front. I even saw that the convoy of the Nangong family dared to intercept it. The little shopkeeper had to teach the ignorant people a lesson in advance. But Xiao Zhuge felt that he had no brains. The other party knew that it was the Nangong team. Also intercept. Prove that the other party made the decision with confidence. And the flag of the other side is a grizzly bear. There is only one gang in the Green Forest that uses this flag. That's Iron Tyrant, the most powerful king of martial arts. It has almost the same fame as the 7 martial gods. Meanwhile, the man in the red cloak jumped down from the mountain. It is the Red Male Wind team directly under Iron Hero. Seeing this small building, the warriors prepared to face Xiao Zhuge also let the guards form a formation and prepare for battle. And tell the small building to draw enemies into their formation. Chow Pai's or remembered Chow Chow at this time. It seems that this son is a descendant of Zhuge Kongming. I don't know why everyone thinks of him as an old man. Obviously, he is a handsome guy who is only 17 years old. But everyone thought he was lying about his age. It looks like there's some kind of conspiracy. The crowd had to say again and again about his actual age. He didn't know why no one believed in him. Xiao Hui felt that the other party should not have looked in the mirror. Just now, bandits blocked the way of the crowd. When they are ready to go to war with the enemy, someone jumped from a height. Let them stay where they are. The little shopkeeper thought he was Tiexiong, was so domineering that he hurriedly asked the people around him to introduce himself. Captain Red Bear said, he is Zhang Yilong, the apprentice of the gang leader. He asked the captain to introduce his age mainly, and said that he was not the old man's apprentice. Let the captain not say useless. Hurry up and get to the point. See here. The captain said. The little owner is indeed 17 years old. Finally confirmed the age. Zhang Yilong looked at everyone. Su Su thought this person was very cute. Xiao Hui really didn't understand his taste. At this time, Brother Zhu walked over. It's very expensive to ask if you can beat his formation. The captain said, they will not go to war in this mountainous area. After all, this is only 20 years away from the other party's family territory. They were just ordered to escort the little master. I saw Xiao Hui and others getting out of the car. They just came out of Xiao Zhuge asked why the bandit flag was raised. Because then there was almost a big war. Zhang Yilong said that if he wants to talk, he will talk about it. They are decent and indiscriminate. And against the people of the Green Forest. The little building didn't want to talk to them anymore. These villains will only rely on their strength to rob their homes. He is here today to punish evil and promote good. Xiao Hui saw that Xiao Zhuge had no intention of stopping. Persuaded the little builder to listen to the other party's explanation first. Zhang Yilong asked the distinguished little shopkeeper. I haven't heard the law. That's the rule that the mountains make for the people of the Green Forest. Captain Red Bear said. Decency doesn't care about that. After all, for Heavenly Demon City, they're better to deal with. Zhang Yilong agreed with the captain's words. And said, the Nangong family is no different from them. Behind the money-making business in Hefei is the identity of the Nangong family. They will only keep showing the power of the family. Suppress the forces of dissenting voices. This kind of intrigue for profit is not much better than theirs. The little master doesn't know about the family's affairs. Speechless to be spoken. Seeing this, Xiao Hui said, there is a big problem with his argument. First of all, The 200-year-old law, he said, had loopholes. 7 years ago, the bandits robbed the government of relief food. His father was beaten badly. It is impossible for such a law to restrict all bandits. And there are more such things in the entire Central Plains. The second point, they get profits that look the same. But it's very different. The Nangong family will help those in need in times of disaster. The way the people looked at them, it speaks for itself. Although the Nangong family will also use the power to seek benefits. But most of them have a chivalrous heart. It's not the same as people who only plant flags and block roads to collect fees. Wenyan Zhang Ilong agrees with Chao Hui's point of view. Directly took off the cloak given to her by the helper. He didn't understand the importance of the dress. I just feel comfortable. Then asked the captain to tell the gang leader. He's not going to be a bandit anymore. And asked the little sword master how he could join the Nangong family. He could have become the One Piece King who commanded 10,000 people. But he had to join the 5 people of the Nangong clan. He told his men to go back and tell the helper, I won't be a bandit anymore. Then asked Nangong Xiaojian how to join. He wants to be a chivalrous man. The little shopkeeper told him to die. The Nangong family will not accept a thief, unless recommended by someone in the immediate family line. I didn't expect his sister to be a recommendation. Seeing this, Zhang Ilong hurriedly ripped off his clothes, so as not to regret the small building. He wants Su Su to write a letter of recommendation now. Chao Hui reluctantly took out a pen and handed it over. He was afraid that this madman would really bite Su Su's finger. Even so, the small building will only make him the lowest scary. That's it. Several people started their journey again. Captain Red Bear told everyone to continue to follow the little master. On the carriage, Zhang Ilong has been lifted. Su Su had a good chat with her. The small building is also very helpless. Xiao Zhuge asked him why he stopped the carriage. Zhang Ilong said he wanted their help. Because of his status, he was unable to participate in the small guild. Everyone didn't expect to almost go to war because of this incident. And he really should have talked to them politely at the age of 17. Zhang Ilong asked how old they were. He was told that only Su Su was the trumpet here. He affectionately called you brothers. Everyone couldn't stand his sensual expression. Only Su Su found this very interesting. Half a month later, they finally approached their destination. Because there were so many attendees, everyone will meet in one place first. They saw the familiar flag in the distance. It was the people of the Peng family in Hebei who were already waiting here. Their small family is known as New Knife. Wang Pengjue. He believed that a real man's weapon must be a knife. She lost to that guy 3 years ago because of her lack of strength. This time he was going to tell the other party. Power is everything. At this time, Chao Hui and several people came over. Zhang Ilong saw that he was in good health, compared to the next strength. And it's only by force. There is no need for internal force to hear the words. Let him let the horses come. As a real man, he only had one chance to challenge himself. It didn't take long, and they decided the winner. Zhang Ilong didn't expect the other party to cheat with internal force. The Peng family's guards asked if it was true. If that's the case, they're going to be disappointed. Seeing this, Peng Ju hopes to be able to play a game. At this time, the Sword King and the Orb recognized that person as the descendant of the Sword Emperor. They only focus on the training of external skills, and to the point of obsession with knife techniques. In fact, it is better to be fair and literate inside and out. Chao Hui asked if it was the best. It's swordsmanship. The sword god said that it was not. Back then, Zhang Fei relied on a snake spear to defend Wudong and Chengbanpo. Zhang Sanfeng became famous through Tai Chi. It would be narrow-minded to think that the best is swordsmanship. See the knight more easily extend the path of various martial arts. It is also more in line with the culture of the Central Plains, known as the King of Soldiers. I heard Chao Pai repeating the King of 10,000 Soldiers. Peng Ju was angry. Fortunately, the little shopkeeper came over in time to relieve the siege. Xiao Zhuge also comforted him. Don't take it so seriously. This shot frightened Peng Ju. The last time he didn't escape the formation for 3 days. Then Xiao Zhuge said, "The Sima family will not come to participate. The Tang family isn't another inn. They can go up the hill first." He felt that eating in ancient times was cumbersome and a waste of time. If you bring modern fast food over, it's sure to be a big hit. And the ingredients for fast food are also very well available. He almost forgot that he was from modern times. Immediately asked Zhang Yilong if he wanted to cooperate with him. He would be paid 52 pieces of silver every month. This tree can cover the income of one of their strongholds. But he had just joined the Nangong family. Be decent. I won't kill someone else because of the silver tall. Chao Hui reassured him. He will be told what to do later. Just now, Chao Hui and the others finally arrived in Huashan. There are already people waiting for their arrival. Once inside, the various families were greeting each other. Zhang Yilong and Chao Pai didn't know anyone, and it bounced. At this time, Huashan Xiaolong appeared in front of everyone. Even Chao Pai felt that there was a light emanating from him around him. Zhang Yilong hurriedly asked him to go over and have a look. Although Huashan Xiaolong is very warmly grateful for coming, but anyone can see the arrogance that he can't hide. At this time, the sword god in the orb was extremely angry. He's going to stop it all. Chao Hui hoped that he would calm down first. After all, there are a lot of modern people. In the distance, Huashan Xiaolong is introducing to everyone. This time, the prize was provided by the Sima family, the Sun Sword and the 10,000 Years Nail. The artist asked if Sima Jia would not participate in the written test this time. After receiving a positive answer, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Huashan Xiaolong felt that these people were very ridiculous. At this time, Chao Hui suddenly spoke. Evil should not exist. The Huashan sword god really couldn't stand it. Let Chao Hui speak for him, because he saw that the power of the demon god was already looking down on Huashan. The Zixia demon god was the first demon sect leader to appear in the martial arts. On the battlefield, his body is forever surrounded by purple flames. Then the exercises of the Huashan school are surprisingly similar to them. At that time, a respected 5 people came out to deny it. Huashan Xiaolong said, "This is a marriage that was made 100 years ago." Then ask him who he really is. The little shopkeeper hurriedly explained. Chao Hui participated for the first time. I hope the other party understands Chao Hui. I also hope that the sword god will be low-key first. Wait until there are few people around. He will help Juggernaut fulfill his wish. At night, the sword god occupied Chao Pai's body. He clearly felt that there were 2 evil forces in the distance. The moment he landed, Huashan Xiaolong also rushed out of his room. He didn't expect it to be Chao Hui here. I saw the sword god's mind move. A sword in the distance appeared in his hand. That's something that even Huashan Xiaolong's master can't do. The sword god is here to prove that his exercises are evil. Wanyan Huashan Xiaolong luck exercise let him take a good look. The sword god knew at a glance that he was hiding deeply. There are 2 tiger true bodies in the use of exercises. But that doesn't stop the blade of its own sword. I saw a star light up behind the sword god. Countless sword shadows were formed on its left and right. Then he went straight to Huashan Xiaolong. Although he resisted at the same time with luck exercises, but the shadow of the sword pierced directly through the defenses, instantly hit his whole body. The sword god said, "This is just the beginning. Next comes the focus of the attack. Attack Huashan Xiaolong like a torrential rain." After the final blow, Huashan Xiaolong fainted directly. Then Chao Hui looked at another place of energy. Just a glance. He saw that there was something wrong with the Huashan exercises. It was the purple flame that only had the demon sect leader 100 years ago. Now this kind of thing is happening to Huashan disciples. He couldn't let it go. Then one move will abolish all the opponent's internal strength. The next step is to remove the source of sin. In the room of the 28th head of Huashan, the head suddenly felt an abnormal coercion. The feeling made her shiver. He hurriedly walked out of the room. Ask who the predecessor is. But I only saw a young man and his apprentice. The sword god said, "Cultivating is the same as being a human being. Don't be swayed by immoral desires. If you are obsessed, it will cost you your life. Flower false sword god. Gather internal forces and swords." That kind of air intake directly shook the head of Huashan and vomited blood. This terrible force cannot be called human at all. The boss trembled and asked who he was. The sword god stated that he was just a person who was trapped by the blood jade orb, then asked if they will give up their demonic powers. The coercion of this terror. The head of Huashan can only think of one person. It was the man who was once called the sword god. There are only plum blossoms with a dark fragrance, in order to satisfy the latest arrogance. A word from the sword god. Let the head have an understanding. Then enter the state of breakthrough. The sword god was pleased. See the bloom of the dark fragrant plum blossoms. When the head opened his eyes again and sighed, only he and his apprentice were left here. He was very sorry. Let the apprentice go down the wrong path. After returning to the room, Xiao Hui remembered the terrifying feeling of the sword god. Not even a city could resist him. Xiao Hui hopes to convince the sword god. Don't occupy your body anymore. The next day, the conference officially began. The Sun Sword will be awarded to the clan that despises the victory. Xiao Hui asked why the 10,000 years ice crystal didn't reward the Huashan disciples at the same time. Indicates that the ice crystals will be awarded to the winner of the literati. Xiao Hui hurriedly asked if he could participate. Xiao Zhuge said, as long as the argument convinces the crowd. Xiao Hui felt that he would win. He had an ancestor who was a scholar. On the other hand, the written exam of the forum has begun. Xiao Hui also joined in. His high-minded rhetoric shocked everyone. Even Xiao Zhuge is ashamed of himself. But how could others admit defeat? He was going to have another round with Xiao Hui in calligraphy. For example, the ancestor is ready. Ask them what written tests they are going to write. Xiao Zhuge also wants to go to war. And the title of the first part of the Book of Songs. Then the staff brought pens and paper. Xiao Hui began to grind unhurriedly. Then began his calligraphy on paper. Xiao Zhuge really couldn't figure it out. How could he be so accomplished at such a young age? At the same time as Xiao Hui finished writing, once again, he threw in the towel. No one present was unconvinced. Xiao Hui has woken up at night. The master asked him how he was feeling now. Loss of internal strength. It's really hard for them to accept. Master told him not to think about revenge. He's going to give up everything now. Resume. Then the master showed his breakthrough and informed that even this power is no match for that person. So don't dwell on the matter anymore. Disturb the mind. That person is a being who is close to God. They could only look up to a group of masked men. Blocked his way. He knew that these people were bandits. Red bears. When the people saw that they were exposed, they were no longer hidden. They knew that Xiao Hui's mouth was powerful. It won't give him a chance to talk more. In a hurry, Xiao Hui actually took the attack, then asked them why they are attacking themselves. At this point, Captain Akama walked out of the crowd. Xiao will tell them not to act rashly. Surrounded by righteous people, the captain said. He's now called Cutthroat. No one could save him. The sword god inside the orb has not made a sound for 3 days. He regretted it a little. Left the protection of those people. Recently, Huashan Xiaolong found them. He said that he could not participate in the race due to his physical condition. Xiao Hui comforted him. Don't be discouraged. Pull yourself together. The other party was so frightened that he couldn't control his aunt when he saw him. Everyone wondered what he was hiding behind his back. The little shopkeeper even asked him to go to the tournament. Xiao Hui didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Said that he still had something to leave first. Hopefully they can help them transport the 10,000 militia gold. Then he found Zhang Yilong. Said that he would go to him when he was done. And so he embarked on his own journey. I didn't expect to meet the Red Bears. He remembered that these people should have come because of Zhang Yilong. But their brutal approach simply does not solve the problem. Then he threw out a silver dollar. In an instant, someone on the other side grabbed it. Since the other party is interested in the silver too, it will be easy to do. He threw the silver dollar again. The same was echoed. The captain told his men to stop. They're from the Red Bears. At this time, Chao Hui took out the gold ingot. The captain asked him what he was going to do. Chao Hui said, he just wanted to get out of here. After taking the bag, they told him to leave quickly. I don't know how long I walked aimlessly. The sword god suddenly spoke. It will no longer be attached to Chao Ash. And let him continue in the direction of the tree. Just climb one more mountain. You will arrive at the building. Hearing this, Chao Hui apologized to the sword god. Hopefully he controls himself to fly over. Because it's too steep. He felt that the sword god was taking revenge on himself. There should be a good shortcut. The sword god was furious. I can't bear this bitterness. What are you talking about to find revenge on those bandits? Wanyin Chao Hui no longer complained. Silently climbed up the mountain. He reached the finish line. The sword god told him what he had gained when he entered. It's up to him. Inside are sword marks left by someone. Chao Hui didn't know what he would gain with the sword marks. The sword god said. He didn't even know who the sword marks were. And he himself didn't think about the people he could beat. He had never seen such a perfect sword. Chao Hui didn't expect that person to be so powerful. Then he came to the place where the sword god said. But what he saw was something familiar. The sword god was surprised. He knew what it was written on. Chao Hui said, that's the various formulas in physics. A modern man forbids equations to calculate sword training methods. Knowledge. I didn't expect these words to come from Chao Hui's world. Chao Hui asked when he found out. Here the sword god is said to have been thousands of years old. And that person didn't have any information at all. The man actually used physics to reach the divine realm of his swordsmanship. Next to the marks left behind by each piece is a calculation formula. And the last thing is the road to this cave. A man known as the god of the sword. I was ashamed to see this. But no one knows about such people in the rivers and lakes. Chao Hui can be sure that the person came here from modern times thousands of years ago. But I don't know why I want to cultivate on this wall. The process of this person's cultivation is recorded on the wall. He used mathematics to divide swordsmanship into 3 types: points, lines, and planes. Although the speed of light can be expressed in physics, but not physically. Everything is theoretical. So in order to reach the formula algorithm, he began to cultivate his body. 2 years later, he understands that it is foolish for the human body to meet the requirements of the formula. He began to study Taoism and Buddhism to achieve complete control over your body. He discovered that the development of the mind was more important than the body. I don't know when. He breaks down the boundaries between reality and illusion. His body began to be able to perform physics formulas and to be able to see the essence of all phenomena. He wondered if he could still be called human. He could feel that some great holy sea was watching him. After reading it, Chao Hui felt that this person was indeed crazy. In an instant, it seemed to have an understanding. The man's sword shadow appeared in front of his eyes like a meteor. He saw the meteor sword in the world. It took Juggernaut 7 years to have an epiphany. Unexpectedly, it took Chao Hui a quarter of an hour to see the starlight genius. It shouldn't be so pertinent this time. This should be the marriage that has been prepared for him a long time ago. Perhaps this is the moment when a generation of little sword gods was born. Before I knew it, 3 years had passed. The servant brought a carriage for a man. This is a new product that he bought for a lot of money. She herself is treated with extreme care. Then he came to the Sacred Heart Church of the Chao family. The service staff enthusiastically asked him what he needed. The man said he wanted a signature set meal. It didn't take long. The waiter brought out the goods he wanted: secret burger and cold Coke. This chilling sensation fascinated him. Then he went to the inn that had recently become popular. There is already a long queue at the door. The owners of the limited edition carriages are regulars at first glance. The reception staff warmly called him Prince Simon. At this time, there were also people next to the man who came to receive him. He knew she was visiting for the first time. said that everything would be arranged. Then let the carriage go and park it first. A distant voice caught the man's attention. It turned out that someone was turned away. Zhang Yilong walked over and asked, "What's the trouble?" "He was just promoted to manager yesterday. I'm happy now." Seeing this, the man left the place directly. Then he asked the younger brother why he was clinging to that man. The younger brother told her. The man came in a luxury carriage. Hearing this, Zhang Yilong asked men not to queue up. Direct entry. The inn was a different story entirely. Men are still a little uncomfortable. The receptionist said that he would be arranged to sit in the front row. He has fully adapted to the atmosphere here. Just when asking a man what to drink, cheers could be heard in the distance. 3 girls came over with a pot of snowflakes. It turned out to be the son of Simon just now. That angry expression infuriated the man. She had 2 bottles served. Same come over. No amount of silver was a problem for him. At this time, Zhang Yilong called the girl next to him. Let her go and entertain the rich man well. The nightlife of the ancients started with a hamburger. This is followed by a refreshing glass of happy water. Finally, it was a matter of getting straight to the theme of the night. And so on. Bankruptcy is not far away. And this series of industries is all controlled by one person. Just 4 years. He started from scratch. So much so. But they were not satisfied. He hopes to continue to expand the industry. But the subordinates said their ice production could not keep up with sales. There is no way. He asked about the development of happy water. After tasting, Chow Hui didn't expect the taste to get worse and worse. He sent his subordinates to write 20 reviews. Zhang Yilong said, "The inn's income has doubled." Chow Hui really didn't expect it after hearing this. He had a talent for business. I thought he only had power in his head. I can't help but admit that he is indeed a good salesman. At this time, Zhang Yilong interrupted Chow Hui's thinking. The 10,000-year-old ice that Chow Hui got before was a treasure for practice. But he only used it to produce soldiers. It is possible to recruit 5 people with weapons. Let them cultivate with 10,000 years of ice. Ice was made for them in exchange. Chow Hui suddenly realized. I think he's a genius. He will never laugh at him again. Empty head. He then asked who could go to the north to complete the mission. Everyone present was lost in thought. It's not just far away. It's even more cold and dangerous. Chow Hui said when he saw this. We'll reward that person with 1,000 gold coins. Hearing the reward, Zhang Yilong raised his hand to go. But Chow Hui also needs him to run the inn. After thinking, he asked the butler where the men were. The housekeeper said they were all locked up in the back of the firewood room. Hearing that Chow Hui is about to take the lead, just bring it. After a while, the butler came with Captain Red Bear. Zhang Yilong almost didn't recognize this person. Hurriedly asked him how he could have become like this. Chow Hui asked the captain to stop crying. Seeing this, Zhang Yilong knew that the captain had offended Chow Hui. Chow Hui asked Captain Red Bear to go to the north. If you don't go, you can continue to live in the firewood house. The captain recalled the scene when he could only eat steamed buns every day. Ask if it's okay to let them go. After receiving an affirmative answer, he was willing to go. Chow Hui said he couldn't finish it. The consequences should be known. Captain Red Bear thinks he's a demon. The other side. The master of the inner courtyard in the Nangong family no longer knows what to do. He should have taken back that token 3 years ago. Chow Hui's delivery business has seriously affected others. The kind of door-to-door service. It even affected the business of the dart game. And the carriage he launched. Cold beer and a happy set. It has become a monopoly. When in case of any trouble, all he had to do was pull out the token. Thanks to him. 3 years dealing with those angry people. At this time, the servant brought him a happy package. Only this chilling feeling can make her forget her troubles. It didn't take long. No one came to report. Someone asked to see him. The lord of the inner courtyard. I thought it was those who had a headache again. I learned that Xiao Zhuge came to visit. He didn't want to be receiving. But the doorman said, Hearing this, the master of the inner courtyard knew that this person could not be seen. Then Xiao Zhuge was brought here. The inner courtyard master didn't expect him to get this position at such a young age. Xiao Zhuge didn't want to say too much to greet. Get straight to the point. He said, Wu Liming believes that the Chao family's business is all operated by the Nangong family in secret. He discovered the formula of physics in a cave thousands of years ago. The information flooded into his mind. It's been 3 years since I opened my eyes again, and the way he sees the world has changed. After going back, his Chamber of Commerce had almost a monopoly on the whole of Hefei. This attracted the attention of the Wulin League. Special Order Xiao Zhuge to find out. The Wulin League thought that the Chao family Chamber of Commerce was a subsidiary of the Nangong family. But the two of them knew that it was all done by Chao Pai himself. It won't be long before Hefei and Nanjing are evenly matched. Xiao Zhuge said, the current Chao Hui is between good and evil. If the little brother of the Black Heavenly Lotus comes to take the martial arts alliance, if you know that the Chao family does not belong to the alliance, at that time, only the Nangong family can fight by itself. Now the intelligence agency of the Wulin League has been eliminated. They still have time to deal with the matter. The master of Wanyin's inner courtyard was going to ask Chao Hui to come over to the mansion to discuss. Xiao Zhuge said. He'd already had people invite him here. Chao Hui didn't know what was going on. When he went in, many people are already waiting here. Xiao Zhuge hopes that his property belongs to the Nangong family. Pay monthly taxes to the Wulin League to get protection. Chao Hui thought it was funny. He gave his life to wealth. How can it be easy to let Ji be a businessman? He will only think with whom he can get gained. He can completely turn Hefei into Nanjing. Just a few years. Hefei's population has doubled. Chao Hui can accept the Nangong family's interference in him, but he will never agree to the Wulin League to snatch it. He had been told. Those who fall into the quagmire of compromise will become weak. Only by risking your life to protect what you care about can you become strong. So he will follow the path of the strong. At this point, the whole room shook violently. The head of the Nangong family didn't expect Chao Pai's martial soul to be so powerful. To reach this state at such a young age. The old man also sighed when he saw this. He didn't teach anything to his apprentice. Has become an absolute master. Wanyin Xiao Zhuge was shocked. Today, there are absolutely master forces. There are only 4. It seems that he can't convince Chao Hui anymore. Then he left the place in amusement. This is the head of the Nangong family asking what the Nangong family means to him. Chao Hui said that to him, it was like an uncle who could tolerate him. That being the case, the head of the family wanted to give Chao Hui a name. The lord of the inner court said, foreign surnames must be intermarried with them. Hearing this, the head of the family looked at the small building. The small building said that he fell in love with Zhang Yilong quickly and madly. The head of the family said after thinking, they also have maidens. Heard that the girl was not yet an adult. Chao Hui directly refused. She can accept plants, but never a wife. Case. The head of the family ordered a family meeting. He's going to change the rules of the family. Chao Hui Jin didn't have anything to do with him. Prepare to say goodbye. But it was stopped by the inner court. His in seriously affected the interests of some people. Chao Hui didn't know what it had to do with him, nor did he force anyone to spend. The owner of the inner courtyard hopes that the business can be closed for 2 days first. Wait for those people to disperse. Chao Hui said. He will suspend all properties for half a month. Seeing this, everyone felt that there was no joy in life. There was not a hint of black in his eyes. It seems to be able to see through everything in the world. This makes people doubt that it is still the realm of martial arts. He just raised his arm slightly. The moment the sword was raised, countless sword chi shot towards his opponent from behind him. Before the enemy was encountered, the small shopkeeper asked what the name of this sword mage was. Chao Hui told him, this is the World Meteor Sword. Recently, Chao Hui found Xiao Zhuge ask why this was done to him. Xiao Zhuge said, this is an order from the Wulin League. Chao Hui told him not to be in the company of those people anymore. I hope he can become the vice president of his own chamber of commerce. Xiao Zhuge said. That's impossible. Just as he was about to say why, the shopkeeper interrupted the conversation. He pleaded with Chao Hui as the elder of the family to teach him, because the head of the family gave Chao Hui the status of an elder. The sword god in the orb allowed him to test his strength. She then agreed to the other side's offer. No one expected the written exam to end so quickly. The Blue Palace Master had never seen such a move. He felt that this should be the perfect swordsmanship. The old man said, "This is no longer the domain of genius." She saw 3 beings called godmen from Chao Hui's body. So the Nangong family must not be missed. At this time, Chao Pai's brother came over. He asked who Chao Hui really was. Chao Hui didn't want others to hear about it. Blocked out their voices. The elder brother said. He knew that his brother was smart. His business achievements are also acceptable. But they have lived together for so long. It's impossible not to know that he knows martial arts. There is no way. Chao Hui recalls his previous memories. Tell your brother that he had secretly seen him crying by a tree. Maybe it's because my father was attacked by bandits. It could also be that the mother was hiding and fainting. The elder brother said, "These only make him angry. It's not crying. It's all because my sister, who can't eat, is still weak." At that time, Chao Hui was also shot in the abdomen by a bandit. She cried that she hadn't been able to take care of her younger siblings. Chao Hui exposed his abdomen. He said that his deliberation was completely fine. Let my brother stop worrying about himself. Whether it's business or martial arts. He's all geniuses. Immediately, Chao Hui dispersed the barrier. I hope my brother will practice martial arts well. Protect your home. He can have peace of mind. At this time, Brother Piggy came over. Doesn't he want to return to the Wulin League? He hoped that Chao Hui would go with him to discuss with the head of the Nangong family. Xiao Zhuge said. After seeing contempt, he changed his mind. He asked to go with Chao Hui. The head of the Jiangxi family didn't know why they wanted to go to Haixianlian's territory. Xiao Zhuge thought that Chao Hui's martial arts were superb. No one knows about the rivers and lakes. They can go and rescue the people who were ordered by the intelligence agency battalion of the Wulin League. It would be better if they could get the information they gathered. The head of the house expressed suspicion there. But Nanchong, even if he agreed. It was useless for Chao Hui to be reluctant to go. Chao Hui knew that He Tianlian coveted his industry. But he also had no reason to take the risk. Xiao Zhuge said. The Chao family may have been mixed with the people of the Black Sky Company. After they get the intelligence, it is good for both the Nangong family and the Chao family. Chao Hui felt that there was some truth. Reluctantly agreed. Seeing this, the head of the Nangong family said, he still has one condition. Xiao Zhuge knew that the owner of the house wanted the little shopkeeper to accompany him. But the small shopkeeper is too upright. Can't be hidden. If that's the case, the head of the family knows that there is someone who can help them change. It was Zhang Yilong, a thief brought back by the small shopkeeper. He didn't expect his friend to be a peerless master. And no one in the demon cult knew of his existence. Just in time they could dive in and find out. In order to understand the living habits of the villain, they found Zhang Yilong, who used to be a bandit. Zhang Yilong said, their faces are like they have the genuine ones written on them. As decent. It's normal for someone to give you a gift in return. But the villain never cares about these etiquette. From the beginning, they received a different education. As long as someone salutes them, they'll be subconscious. There are other things that are already imprinted in the bones. Zhang Yilong didn't know why, but they were persuaded to give up. Chao Hui said, some are coveting his inheritance. So they plan to infiltrate each other's territory to investigate. After learning that it was the Black Sky and even those people, Zhang Yilong said that he would do his best to train his brother. First of all, the small building will shout its name every time it makes a move. It's as if to tell the other person what to do next. One of the villains has always hidden a knife in his smile. There is a person who is usually pretty. Let your guard down. There is also a prosthetic leg that is his weapon. Therefore, villains cannot be judged by normal people's thoughts. The successive demon sect leaders were extremely ruthless. If there is no determination, it's hard to survive in it. Then there is Xiao Zhuge. It's like showing that he's a rich kid. For those who can go to war for food, he should be clear about what that means. Finally, it's the reaction of someone when they insult you. Zhang Yilong's simple greeting provoked the small building to draw his sword. This reaction is decent at first glance. Villains don't get provoked so easily. Rather, observe the opponent. Qiao Hui felt as if he was born a villain. He had already noticed the wickedness in his hands. So the next thing to train is to scold and be scolded. Zhang Yilong asked them to sit down face to face. Then say the worst words. If you can't stand it, even if it fails. Zhang Yilong felt that Qiao Hui did not need to train at all. He advised the small building not to speak. It is best to use the eyeball face as a guard for good literary language. The small shopkeeper wondered why he hadn't decided that way in the first place. Then he took his leave. Wait for the notification of Qiao Hui's trip. Qiao Hui knew that there were a lot of people in the Black Sky Company. How can they find out who is being ordered? Xiao Zhuge said. This depends on Qiao Hui as an absolute powerhouse. His all-round body is the best option. What their Zhuge family is most afraid of is the absolute strong. All stratagems are useless before them. Crunch time. Qiao Hui can also leave with information. Unless it's the same absolute powerhouse. Qiao Hui felt that in this way they would fail. He knows his actual situation. The normal 5 are all long-term honing. More than internal and external strength. The spirit should also be cultivated. He just relied on the opportunity of the sword type to grow quickly. In fact, he didn't know anything about martial arts. So Xiao Zhuge will definitely fail. Then he thought of something. Tell Xiao Zhuge I'm waiting for myself for half a month. Wanyin Xiao Zhuge said. They don't have time anymore. But seeing Qiao Hui's insistence, he could only shorten the time to 4 days. That's it. Qiao Hui returned to Nangong's house again. Report to the head of the Nangong family. Their training is over. The head of the house was very happy when he heard this. Let them be careful along the way. But seeing Qiao Hui, he seemed to have something on his mind. Qiao Hui didn't want to hide it from his family. I told the other party about the opportunity. He doesn't even know basic common sense now. So I implore the bishop to teach himself some martial arts. Everyone thinks he is the best master who has not yet been born. But he doesn't even understand the basic common sense of martial arts. It's just because of chance. He learned 3 swordsmanship, such as facing the real strong. He had no power to fight back. He told the head of the Nangong family the actual situation. At that time, it was a competition with a small building. He's just moving fast. Now as the elder of Nangong family, he asked how much martial arts he could learn. The head of the family said, except for a few tricks. He can learn from it. Hearing this, Qiao Hui hopes to study as soon as possible. All the heads of the family who can learn know that Qiao Pai is amazingly talented. Increases the family's reputation. He immediately said that he would teach it in person. I saw him use a set in an instant. Lightning fast part. Qiao Hui also activates talents. Watch carefully. At the moment when the head of the family landed, he just used the same pace. But it doesn't seem to be a martial art with the head of the family. Qiao Hui actually had an attack attribute after using it. The head of the family wanted to know how Qiao Pai did it. Qiao Hui also couldn't explain the matter of physical formulas. All he could say was that he didn't think much of it. Go with the flow. And so it went on for 4 days. Qiao Hui learned all the martial arts of the Nangong family and removed the flaws of what you have learned. It became a new exercise. Then he thanked the head of the Nangong family for his teachings. See Qiao Hui's talent. The head of the family wants to teach the family secrets. The elder stepped forward to stop him. Qiao Hui also had no spirit to study anymore. After returning home, he's been thinking. Xiao Zhuge learned that he had returned home. I came to meet Qiao Hui. I hope to listen to the plan before leaving. Xiao Zhuge was puzzled. Didn't you say saving people? Xiao Hui wanted to know his plans after saving people. Xiao Zhuge said, "Intelligence may well change the fighters. The Wulin League will send people to rescue Hefei." After thinking, Xiao Hui continued to ask, "What will happen if you win this time?" Xiao Zhuge said, "The best outcome is to get the other side to give up some territory." Xiao Hui didn't expect Fei Fei to work so hard. That's the result. So he decided he wouldn't save people anymore. Xiao Zhuge didn't know why he suddenly changed his mind. There are countless masters of the Black Sky Company. Xiao Hui even has the Nangong family. Nor can it be dealt with alone. Xiao Hui asked Xiao Zhuge to leave quickly. He is free to intend. Unless Xiao Zhuge joins him and leaves the Wulin League, he will inform Xiao Zhuge of the better plan. Really curious. Agreed to Xiao Hui's proposal. Xiao Hui took out the contract to show that he did not believe in the verbal agreement. Just sign it later. They're just people in a boat. Xiao Zhuge signed on the side. While asking about the plan, Xiao Hui said, "What will happen if the Qiao family leaves Hefei? He sells more than just goods. It's culture. So he is ready to sell culture in the place of Black Sky Company. If the other party threatens to use force, he will withdraw the Qiao family. The people of Jiangxi Taoist priests can stand it. Black Tianlian couldn't stand it either. He wants to defeat Haixianlian with cultural output. Xiao Zhuge knows that it takes a lot of money to occupy the market." Xiao Hui said. The last thing he lacked was silver tails. The blacksmith shop of the Qiao family undertook the manufacture of weapons for an army of 30,000, plus a variety of farm implements and horse-drawn carts. He has enough strength to complete this plan. At this time, the little shopkeeper and Zhang Yilong came to visit. Zhang Yilong felt that he knew better. The villain must follow, and he has chosen someone to manage the inn case. Xiao Hui agreed to his request. Immediately, several people prepared to leave for Jiangxi, where Haixianlian was located. Someone was stupid enough to buy up half of the demon cult's territory. Let the men go down and see what kind of people they are. The squire of the Ministry of Works who came before has nothing to lose. The man threw the weapon directly onto the table, asking as if they want to buy the land of Black Lotus. Xiao Hui hoped that the other party could sit down and talk in detail. The man didn't expect these people to be scared when they saw her. It seems that it is very confident in the strength of the guards. Xiao Hui asked her if she wanted to get down to business. After the man sat down, so that they can get started. Xiao Zhuge wanted him to put away his weapon first. Then put the map of the city on your desktop. Highlight the location in red. That's where they're going to buy. Men think they're crazy to buy so much. That's when a woman appeared outside the window. He then turned over and entered the room. She asked the men if they would cooperate in eliminating them. The man didn't expect to say this in front of people. The two then attacked at the same time. Went straight to Xiao Hui and the others. I saw that Xiao Hui just reached out and grabbed their weapons. Then he said that the two were really rude. He told them to sit down. There is still much to be said. At this time, Xiao Er came over and asked them if they wanted to order. Hearing this, the man just asked Xiao Er to serve the signature dish. Xiao Hui was furious. Tell Xiao Er with a snap of his finger in the air. Give them 2 cups of tea. I saw that the woman was still standing. Xiao Hui's chair was directly moved through the air. Let them sit down quickly. Don't draw attention. Get straight to the point. Ask them where the troops of the Black Sky Company are. Men felt that they were decent when they heard it. Zhang Yilong took off his shirt directly. Tattoos exposed. The man knew that this was a sign of the Akeo gang. But I still don't understand why I asked about their troops. It's high tide season just around the corner. Why do you have the effort to buy their land? Wenyan Zhang Yilong knew that this was to attack on Hue from the waterway. Answer. These are all tasks assigned above. The men seemed to know why they were all over the ground. After all, they mobilized 7,000. The man of the green forest. Shelter is also needed. The women were still skeptical about why they were asking about their troops. Xiao Hui said, this is just testing. After all, they don't believe in the people who come. Xiao Zhuge didn't expect that Haitianli and Jin would organize so many people to attack on Hue. He had to go and tell the Wulin League about this. At this time, Chao Hui hopes to start the land on the official map. How much exactly are they going to sell? The male protagonist said that there was no land to be sold. Just let him see what Chao Hui is like. Chao Hui didn't expect that it was just a little minion who was sent. As soon as this statement came out, the man kept insulting her. Felt that Chao Hui was too self-righteous. Just when Chao Hui wanted to refute, Xiao Er brought tea. I hope you can enjoy your time here. The small shopkeeper subconsciously returned the gift. Show your appreciation. This is a frightening move. The two fled in an instant. They were sure that these people were from decency. It didn't take long, and they were caught. Chao Hui has buried the two in the ground. Xiao Zhuge felt that he should go back immediately to report the news. Nangong family. It is impossible to face the army alone. The small building also agreed, so that they also did not have time. The man didn't expect it. Decent people even give face-to-face discussions to eliminate them. She decided to give the man a chance to live. But there is one more prerequisite. It is to point out the important institutions of the demon cult on the map. Not long ago, she released the two of them from the ground. Take advantage of the convenience of the woman to go. Chao Hui wants to make a deal with the man. The male protagonist said that good and evil are not separated. Let her give up. Chao Hui hoped he would think about it. Xiao Zhuge knew that this was a way to contain the enemy. But those buildings will definitely be heavily guarded. Chao Hui said. His target was not the guards. Instead, jump over the guards and destroy the building. The crowd still didn't quite understand what he was up to. I saw Chao Hui's sword unsheathed in an instant. Straight into the sky. He didn't know what would happen if he used Edgeworth for a long time. But with the addition of the Nangong family swordsmanship, this matter can be solved. It's been a long time. The sword in the sky flew back into Chao Pai's hand again. He asked the crowd. This distance should be enough. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. The woman came back to see. They all froze in place. Asked the man what really happened. The man could have imagined that there were only 4 people to meet at such a distance. She told the woman what had just happened. They will never be able to defeat the boy. Then Chao Hui asked Xiao Zhuge about it. How long will it take for them to go back and report the news? After thinking about it, Xiao Zhuge felt that he should be able to catch up with the other party's attack. Chao Hui said that this is not safe. If the tide rises faster, the Wulin League can't reach it at all. But they destroyed the Black Sky, even vital supplies. It will definitely disrupt Black Lotus's plans. Women also think it's a good idea. He's had enough of his boss. Xiao Zhuge asked the woman if it was more important to point out what was important. The woman said, it depends on their sincerity. Chao Hui was rewarded with 100 gold coins. In an instant, the woman pointed out several buildings. Men didn't expect women to rebel so easily. I saw Chao Hui slowly walking behind him. It means that since the woman said it, she's worthless. The man asked Chao Hui to wait a moment. Also walk to the map. Start pointing out the location. Then hope to get 200 gold. Chao Hui ignored it. Point at the acupoints of the man's body. Then I also ordered the woman's acupoint. He will unblock it after verifying the authenticity. Then let Xiao Zhuge and Xiao Jinju continue to acquire land. He and Zhang Yilong went to destroy enemy facilities. Although the internal force of the two was sealed, Chao Hui still let Zhang Yilong keep them. Their first goal was the big barn. Then they came to a high mountain. Chao Hui sat in place and operated the internal force. When you're ready, he came to the edge of the cliff. Infused the internal force into the sword. In an instant, the sword rushed into the distance like an arrow from a string. In the blink of an eye, the target building was destroyed by him. The sword was back in his hands. Then he took aim for the next place. The sword shot out again. Pierced the sky. Destroy the target. One after another, they were all destroyed by Chao Hui. The man watched as smoke rose from the city. He felt that this move was too unfair. No one could have predicted that would happen. Not to mention going defensive. He turned his sword like a drone. silently pass through the layers of guards. Destroy the target building. Then you can take the sword back. After repeating this a few times, he had destroyed all the important buildings of the demon cult. Xiao Hui then asked where the next important place was. The man said, "The Iron Fist King is on a mountain in Anhui. He controls the entire hose boat. There is also a lot of wealth." At night, they arrived at their destination. Watching the fight is what the Iron Fist King has learned of what he has done. But that didn't stop his sword at all. A rain of arrows goes straight to the target. Under the control of Xiao Hui, one by one was destroyed. Angry voices rang out from the castle. I thought it was a good thing done by the Nangong family. After all, the martial arts he used were taught by the Nangong family. Meet the Iron Fist King voice. The man wanted to call for help. Xiao will let the man think clearly here. But she brought it. If the other party knows about it, he won't end well. At this point, the Iron Fist King was furious. Let the head of the Nangong family appear in a battle. Xiao Hui wouldn't be stupid enough to fight the other party. Asked Zhang Yilong to meet Xiao Zhuge. Zhang Yilong didn't know what else he was going to do. But the other side is strong. As everyone knows. Xiao Hui reassured her. You won't be so stupid yourself. Then jumped off the cliff. Go straight to the castle. He came to the campfire first. Stir up the flames. It was discovered by the Iron Fist King in an instant. Order your men to hurry up and stop the burning of the house. The crowd finally stopped the burning sticks. At the same time, the other side was full of fire. The Iron Fist King personally attacked. Xiao Hui kept setting fires outside the city. He wanted to see when someone would stop him. The Iron Fist King didn't expect the Nangong family to be so despicable. None of the masters of the demon cult will prove that he has summoned the most elite men. Destruction must be stopped. Climb out of the city walls. And they saw a figure in the distance. Xiao Hui was waiting for them to come out. He led them to the top of the mountain. But he has returned to the castle. Began to continue the destruction. The Iron Fist King has been tricked and can't bear it anymore. But after returning to the castle, Xiao Hui was nowhere to be seen. Unexpectedly, Xiao Hui returned to the mountain. I saw him raise and fall with his sword. Several of the guards have been eliminated. That's it. The Iron Fist King's castles were destroyed. The hard work he had worked so hard to accumulate for half a lifetime was ruined overnight. On the other side, even the sect leader received a report. All their wheat was burned. The city's buildings and fleet were also destroyed. The 8 kings were also attacked. The leader asks who did it. The subordinates said that it should be the martial arts of the Nangong family. I heard that it was the Nangong family. The sect master was skeptical. This method is considered the lowest level even by the indecent. One such master. How could such a thing be done? It seems that the Nangong family will only pretend to be noble on the surface. He then asked them how much they had lost. The subordinate said that it was about 200,000 gold coins. The sect master didn't expect one person to let them lose so far. He told his men to continue waiting for the rainy season, and went to spread the message of the head of the Nangong family. They can earn back the money they lost. But honor is not something that can be bought back with money. He is the feared leader of the demon cult. Someone actually attacked his hometown in front of him. I saw a flying sword floating in the air on the ceiling. He recognized it at a glance as Nangong's sword technique. Then run the exercises to fight back. I thought it was going to be a tough battle. But after they came out, no one is here. The sect leader sighed that the other party was able to withdraw his sword chi. Even he couldn't put it away freely. There was an explosion in a building. 2 swords appeared in front of the crowd. Then they went in a different direction. The sect master was shocked. He was able to control 2 sword chi at the same time. He didn't have time to think. Go straight to a splash there. But where he stored his gunpowder? If destroyed, the consequences are unimaginable. Intercept the attack, only to find out that it is a false move. Another building was destroyed in the distance, and the angry sect leader was furious. Let the other person show up quickly. Chao Hui was on top of the mountain peak in the distance at this time. I feel that the sect leader should be angry. The new skills of the two wings he learned in the sword mound at the beginning. Although it consumes internal strength, but it allows him to control two weapons at the same time, and can be used for two purposes. Let them fly in different directions. But whether it's him or C, I'll have to reach the limit. But there are still many places that need to be destroyed. He spent a lot of money to get information from Yidai. Hai Xianlian actually secretly hid the controlled cannon. If destroyed there, the royal family will definitely come to investigate. That's the case. The royal family will suppress the martial arts. Perhaps Chao Hui can use this to change the situation. Immediately, he shouted to Hai Tianlian in the sound of a Lioha boat. This kind of sound transmission changes the voice itself, nor will it be known where he is. The Iron Fist King made Chao Hui appear. Fight him. Chao Hui said. He doesn't talk to little Rollo. Let the leader respond to himself quickly. If you don't talk anymore, he will attack the place where the gunpowder is stored again. The sect leader didn't expect the other party to know this secret. I can only ask him what he is going to do. Chao Hui asked Hai Xianlian to withdraw from Jiangxi. Otherwise, they will report to the emperor. The sect leader said that the emperor knew that Chao Hui would not survive Hualuo. Two flying swords reappeared in the air. The sect master saw this. They have 8,000 congregants who will not give in. Chao Hui said with a smile. Will these 8,000 people stop him from continuing to wreathe? The sect master couldn't believe that such a master could be so despicable. He hoped to meet to discuss the agreement. Chao Hui wasn't stupid to that extent. Control the flying sword to fly towards different places again. The sect leader didn't dare to gamble. Which side is the real trick? He could only stop the arrow that flew towards the gunpowder. At the same time, under the basket, there was another explosion in the rear case. He'd like to see how many more times the other party can do it. Then let all his men go to guard a building. The whole house is impermeable. Seeing this, Chao Hui knew that he couldn't let Hai Tianlian leave Jiangxi. He again proposed a new agreement. First, break the covenant between the Black Lotus and the Green Forest. Second, Jiangxi commerce was attributed to the Chao family and allowed the Chao family to buy land. The sect leader didn't expect that the secret of the covenant would be known to the other party. But they were originally going to the Chao family's business group, since the Chao family wants to come to them to do business. The Martial Arts League would definitely not agree. After thinking, the leader said he could agree to the agreement. But the Wulin Alliance came, and they had to deal with it together. Chao Hui said, if the Wulin League intervenes, he will teach the other party a good lesson. The leader asked his men if they had misheard. It seems that the head of the Nangong family is really crazy. He was happy to see the Wulin League and the Nangong family turn against each other. Said their agreement came into effect today. He decided to build 20 scenic houses on the edge of Poyang Lake. Residents can enjoy the beautiful scenery every day. And that's not all. There are also food and shops on the first and second floors, so that people can meet their needs without having to walk more. He hoped that Xiao Zhuge could design a blueprint. Xiao Zhuge felt that it was difficult to reach the height required by Chao Hui. Chao Hui allowed him to use steel and iron as a skeleton. Don't worry about any financial problems. Xiao Zhuge didn't expect that the residence could still be operated like this. He really admires Chao Hui's business acumen. Recently, Chao Hui took the title deed to meet everyone. Xiao Zhuge didn't expect it to be hundreds of black skyland. He obviously gave himself both the silver. Chao Hui said. Hai Tianlian handed over the land without compensation. The other side, the Nangong family also received information. Chao Hui's destruction of the Black Heavenly Lotus was all counted on his head. Obviously, he didn't even go out of the house. Fortunately, a catastrophe was prevented. Otherwise, the Nangong family might not be able to withstand the attack of 10,000 people. But I don't know if those despicable acts will spread in the rivers and lakes. At this time, the owner of the inner courtyard sent a letter from the small shopkeeper. After seeing it, the owner scolded Chao Hui angrily. There is no one who does not know. The Chao family Chamber of Commerce does business with Haixianlian under their name. The Nangong family may be kicked out of the league. He had to go to the alliance headquarters right away. At this time, Xiao Zhuge found Chao Hui with the design drawings. He hoped to use Chao Hui's talent for mathematics to improve architecture. But in fact, their more important question is who it is. Chao Hui suddenly realized. Problems with water supply and discharge. Sheng Shui can be solved. The main thing is that it is somewhat difficult to achieve in terms of launching. I don't know if today's craftsmen can make toilets. Think about it. Heating is also a challenge. In this era, there are no alternatives to plastic pipes. Iron will definitely rust and rot when used for a long time. She needs to study these issues. That's when men and women come in and ask what they can do. Chao Hui said that they could already go back to Haixianlian. Men want not to tell anyone about them. Chao Hui perfunctorily agreed to them. See, this man said. It's a life-threatening matter. 2 people from the demon cult actually talked to her about their lives. Immediately, Chao Hui asked the 2 to kneel. If you want to live. The agreement was signed. They can start with the lowest employee in the Chao family. You can also choose to leave. He is not reluctant. A man's first job is to find the best craftsman. In order to live. Men can only agree. The woman didn't know what she could do. Chao Hui asked him what his strengths were. The woman said she was very good at destroying her enemies. Chao Hui doesn't need her specialty. Let the woman observe the same from the roof every day. The Black Heavenly Lotus sect lord inquired about the person who had found out that day. After the government reached an agreement. It turned out to be a teenager wearing a mask. The subordinates felt that the person should not be from the rivers and lakes. But there was one person who was very suspicious. It was Chao Hui, who was taken in by the Nangong family not long ago. Boy in a mask. Probably this is the person. He has a 10,000-year-old ice crystal. But it is used to make ice. That is the treasure of martial arts people's dreams. In order to increase the yield of ice, he asked people to invite women. Today, I learned that a suitable candidate has been found. He returned to the Chamber of Commerce. And he saw the crowd round about them. Immediately, Chao Pai stepped forward to identify himself. Captain Red Bear introduced. The 2 are Shuebai and Shuexian. From the North Sea. Shuexian asks if Chao Hui is the owner of the ice crystals. Before seeing ice crystals, they won't promise any conditions. Seeing this, Captain Red Bear hurriedly asked, can they leave? Now that the task is complete, it was useless for Chao Hui to keep them. The Wanyan Red Bears hurriedly left the place happily. Chao Hui ignored them. Take the 2 of them to the ice crystals. It was confirmed that it was really a 10,000-year-old ice crystal. The 2 were in shock. Shuebai didn't know how long to wait. Chao Hui opened his mouth and said, soldiers are very valuable in the Central Plains. If he would bring a master to the Central Plains to do business. Shuebai felt offended. Back then, the ice-white shrine was occupied by the Central Plains. I don't know how many masters have been frozen into icemen. Chao Huijian and the others did not speak. It was decided to talk about their collaboration first. He could trade ice crystals for the labor of the 2. As 5 people, they can't stand the interests of businessmen. Chao Hui said, they don't want to do it. It is possible to leave. Who knew that the 2 of them actually used the exercises and prepared to make a move. Chao Hui was very happy to see this. He needed this kind of technique of producing soldiers too much. When the opponent attacks him, Chao Hui had come behind them. Shuebai knew that this person was not an ordinary businessman. The second layer of luck attacks again. But they couldn't touch each other at all. Chao Hui said, such a useful ice-making skill. Why should it be used against people? They should also have stronger exercises. Snow White indicates that the highest is the 5-layer mental method. Chao Hui was puzzled. It can be used several times a day. When I learned about it 4 or 5 times, Chao Hui was very excited. He made preliminary calculations. There should be a gain of 260 gold coins in a day. The brother and sister are the walking merchants. If they use ice crystals to practice, it's definitely going to get stronger. The number of times that is used will also increase. Insist on 5 years of training. They will be the strongest soldiers. He will also give the two of them a 10% of the proceeds. Such a good thing. I don't know why the two of them sent it. Hear Chow Hui's words. Shweb, I thought of his family. You can make money. You can still practice. Not bad indeed. Chow Hui said there is only one condition. That is, one of them wants to go to Jiangxi with him. After hearing this, the brother and sister said that they would not be separated. Seeing this, Chow Hui was a little helpless. It means that it is okay not to separate. Then teach them to yourself. When Yin Shuebai was furious. It is impossible for the family exercises to be taught in foreign countries. Chow Hui carried their exercises at this time. Although only imitation. If you practice for a long time, he can also practice. So the two of them had better make a choice. My sister said that she would go to Jiangxi with Chow Hui. There are more important things waiting for my brother to complete. The elder brother is their family's last hope for rebuilding. When Yin Shuebai knew that what her sister said was right, say no more. Started cultivation on ice crystals. He will definitely carry the ice bow forward again. At this time, Chow Hui took Shuexian away, and there was no need to worry about the ice crystals being stolen. Don't worry about ice production anymore. The girl went out in winter clothes in the summer. Chow Hui felt that this was too attention-grabbing. Hopefully, the snowshoes can take off their coats and watch onlookers. People thought Chow Hui was harassing women. The childish Chow will tell everyone not to meddle in their affairs. He just wanted Seo Hyun to wear something that suited the season. This dress of Seo Hyun was made by her mother on her deathbed. How could he take it off? Hold the love of a mother. Chow Hui felt that she had misunderstood herself. It's much hotter here than in his hometown. It stinks after a long time. He wouldn't think about it either. Sweat like a pig. Let people watch. When Yin Shuexian finally agreed to replace it, I hope Chow Hui can take care of his clothes. Then the two went to the clothing store. The boss thought they were getting married. Chow Hui asked him to prepare the clothes of Wuling Garden. When Shuexian finished drawing and walked out, both of them were amazed by each other's handsomeness. The face and body are so perfect. Seeing this, Chow Hui wanted to change his clothes. Shuexian liked this one very much. There is no way. Chow will let him be given another hat. This is the first time in Shuexian's life that someone has bought her clothes. Then the two returned to the Chow family inn. Chow Hui was very pleased. The taste of the food has not changed. He hopes that the chef can continue to keep it up. Then asked the housekeeper to take good care of the clothes of the blood type. The housekeeper knew at a glance that it was the costume of the Beihai people. This way of treating leather is far superior to that of the Central Plains. Chow Hui didn't know that clothes were so exquisite. The housekeeper carefully told him about the craftsmanship of this dress. At this time, Shuexian walked down the stairs. Chow Hui asked who made the dress. After learning that it was her mother, asked him if his mother is a leatherman. Shuexian said, they don't have that kind of profession there. The women of the North Sea will make this kind of leather clothing. Although not as good as Mom did, but she can also make words. Chow Hui felt that this was an opportunity. Hopefully, Shuexian can teach his workers how to make it. Players feel that opening a tannery is also a good idea. Chow Hui didn't expect to run into a dog. That's when someone came to visit him. Brought 70% of the blacksmiths in Anhua. Although this will reduce the benefits. But for the sake of building large buildings, he didn't have a choice. Then let everyone start to prepare for the journey. Take the supplies to the other side of Jiangxi. Zhang Yilong's master came over. Zhang Yilong didn't know that this old man was suitable for him. His master heard that he had become a decent person. Zhang Yilong felt that he should not bow his head to the villain and scold. Enough is enough. Beaten every day. Practice iron armor. That being the case, the master decided to take back his martial arts. Then the woman in the house screamed. The Nangong family appeared. The head of the Nangong family didn't expect to meet the king of the green forest here. Tetsuo was furious when he saw this man. Recently, she received the Black Lotus from the Covenant. The people he mobilized prepared for 2 months. He Tianlian said that if it is torn, it will be torn. He sent someone to find out the news. Learned that it was all done by the Nangong family. The head of the Nangong family said, "It's all a misunderstanding." Tetsuo felt that this misunderstanding was going to ruin them. The head of the Nangong family knew that he couldn't reason with the villain. He drew his sword. Then the two attacked each other. He has a 10,000-year-old ice crystal, but it is used to make ice. That is the treasure of martial arts people's dreams. In order to increase the production of soldiers, he asked people to invite martial arts. I learned today. To find the right person, he returned to the Chamber of Commerce, and he saw the crowd surrounding the two of them. Immediately, Chow Pai stepped forward to identify himself. Captain Red Bear introduced. The two are Shuebai and Shuexian. From the North Sea. Shuexian asks if Chow Hui is the owner of the ice crystals. Before seeing ice crystals, they won't promise any conditions. Seeing this, Captain Red Bear hurriedly asked, "Can they leave?" Now that the task is complete, Chow Hui left them useless. The Red Bears hurriedly left the place happily. Chow Hui ignored them. Take the two of them to the ice crystals. It was confirmed that it was really a 10,000-year-old ice crystal. The two were in shock. Shuebai didn't know how long to wait. Chow Hui opened his mouth and said, "Soldiers are very valuable in the Central Plains. If he would bring a master to the Central Plains to do business." Shuebai felt offended. Back then, the ice-white magic skill made the Central Plains stand. I don't know how many masters have been frozen into ice fields. Chow Hui saw that the two had not spoken. It was decided to talk about their collaboration first. He could trade ice crystals for the labor of the two. As 5 people, they can't stand the interest of the merchants. Chow Hui said, "They don't want to do it. It is possible to leave." Who knew that the two of them actually used the exercises and prepared to make a move. Chow Hui was very happy to see this. This kind of exercise to produce soldiers. He needed it too much. When the opponent attacks him, Chow Hui had come behind them. Shuebai knew that this person was not an ordinary businessman. The second layer of luck attacks again. But they couldn't touch each other at all. Chow Hui said, "Such a useful ice-making skill. Why should it be used against people? They should also have stronger exercises." Snow White indicates that the highest is the 5-layer mental method. Chow Hui was puzzled. It can be used several times a day. When I learned about it 4 or 5 times, Chow Hui was very excited. He preliminarily calculated that he should have a profit of 260 gold coins a day. The brother and sister are the walking merchants. If they use ice crystals to practice, it's definitely going to get stronger. The number of times that is used will also increase. Insist on 5 years of training. They will be the strongest soldiers. He will also give the two of them a 10% of the proceeds. Such a good thing. I don't know why the two of them sent it. Hear Chow Hui's words. Shuebai thought of his family. You can make money. You can still practice. Not bad indeed. Chow Hui said, "There is only one condition. That is, one of them wants to go to Jiangxi with him." The brother and sister said after hearing this. They won't be separated. Seeing this, Chow Hui was a little helpless. It means that it is okay not to separate. Then teach them to yourself. When Yin Shuebai was furious, and it was impossible for the family's exercises to be taught to foreign countries. Chow Hui carried their exercises at this time. Although only imitation. If you practice for a long time, he can also practice. So the two of them had better make a choice. My sister said that she would go to Jiangxi with Chow Hui. There are more important things waiting for my brother to complete. The elder brother is their family's last hope for rebuilding. When Yin Shuebai knew that what her sister said was right, say no more. Started cultivation on ice crystals. He will definitely carry the ice bow forward again. At this time, Chow Hui took Shuexian away. Don't worry about ice crystals being stolen. Don't worry about ice production anymore. The girl went out in winter clothes in the summer. Chow Hui felt that this was too attention-grabbing. Hopefully, Seohyun can take off his coat. Onlookers thought Chow Hui was harassing the girl. Was so angry that Chow Hui asked everyone not to meddle in their affairs. She just wanted Seohyun to wear something that suited the season. This dress of Seo-hyun was made by her mother on her deathbed. How could he take it off? Hold the love of a mother. Chow Hui felt that she had misunderstood herself. It's much hotter here than in his hometown. It stinks after a long time. He wouldn't think about it either. Sweat like a pig. Let people watch. When Yin Shuexian finally agreed to replace it, I hope Chow Hui can take care of his clothes. Then the two went to the clothing store. The boss thought they were getting married. Chow Hui asked him to prepare the clothes of Wuling Garden. When Shuexian finished drawing and walked out, both of them were amazed by each other's handsomeness. The face and body are so perfect. Seeing this, Chow Hui wanted to change his clothes. Shuexian liked this one very much. There is no way. Chow will let him be given another hat. This is the first time in Shuexian's life that someone has bought her clothes. Then the two returned to the Chow family inn. Chow Hui is relieved that the taste of the food has not changed. He hopes that the chef can continue to keep it up. Then asked the housekeeper to take good care of the clothes of the blood type. The housekeeper knew at a glance that it was the costume of the Beihai people. This way of treating leather is far superior to that of the Central Plains. Chow Hui didn't know that clothes were so exquisite. The housekeeper carefully told him about the craftsmanship of this dress. At this time, Shuexian walked down the stairs. Chow Hui asked who made the dress. After learning that it was his mother, asked him if his mother is a leatherman. Shuexian said, "They don't have that kind of profession there. The women of the North Sea would make this kind of proposal, although not as good as Mom did. But she can also make words." Chow Hui felt that this was an opportunity. Hopefully, Shuexian can teach his workers how to make it. Players feel that opening a tannery is also a good idea. Chow Hui didn't expect to come across a treasure. At this time, some people came to worship. He brought 70% of the blacksmiths in Anhua. Although this will reduce the benefits, but for the sake of building large buildings, he didn't have a choice. Then let everyone start to prepare for the journey. Take the supplies to the other side of Jiangxi. Zhang Yilong's master came over. Zhang Yilong didn't know that this old man was suitable for him. His master heard that he was a decent person. Zhang Yilong felt that he should not bow to the villain. Auntie is fed up. He was beaten every day to practice his iron armor body. That being the case, the master decided to take back his martial arts. Then the woman in the house screamed. The Nangong family appeared. The head of the Nangong family didn't expect to meet the king of the green forest here. Tetsuo. When I saw this man, I was angry. Recently, she received the Black Lotus from the Covenant. The people he mobilized prepared for 2 months. He Tianlian said that if it is torn, it will be torn. He sent someone to find out the news. Learned that it was all done by the Nangong family. The head of the Nangong family said that it was all a misunderstanding. Tetsuo felt that this misunderstanding was going to ruin them. The head of the Nangong family knew that he couldn't reason with the villain. He drew his sword. Then the two attacked each other.